I'm Mari.
I'm Marti.
And welcome to the MARI&MARTIE channel. In this video, we're trying out something a bit different. So this is more of a discussion, more than a specific art prompt that we're developing throughout the video. This doesn't really have a defined script. We just want to talk about OCs and why we think they're essential for all artists.
But before we start, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below if you have any suggestions for future videos.
I'd also like to clarify that this video is completely based off our personal experience with making OCs and our opinions. If you disagree with us, feel free to discuss, again, the topics of this video down below in the comments. While you listen to us talk about OCs, by the way, you'll also see speed paints of our own characters, our original characters.
So, for those who need a refresher, OC stands for Original Character. So, for example, you like a TV show or an animated series and you're like, wow, I would love to be there. Or maybe perhaps imagine what would it be like if you maybe live in that world, or just, you know, wow, I would love to draw more stuff related to that series, but I don't want to like draw myself or, you know, draw just fan art. So you create an original character, someone who would live in that world, who would experience the similar things or the similar events or different events in the same world as the characters that you like from that series. You know, that's kind of like what an original character is. If you've been on our channel for a while, you surely know what an OC is. We talk a lot about our OCs here.
And this term has actually been used ever since artists have been sharing their work on the internet. So OCs are not necessarily just characters made on top of an already existing story. They can also be your own stories.
When you think about it, every single character, fictional character out there is an original character from a creator or writer, artist, etc.
One of the most common misconceptions I see about OCs is that what matters the most to create one is the way you draw, so your skills, your artistic skills when it comes to drawing. And I think that's such a huge lie, personally, because I kind of feel like your skills and the media you use don't really matter that much. You can make an OC without drawing them. And I also feel like some people forget that many writers, for example, write about their characters without necessarily drawing how their look is, how their appearances are.
You don't need to draw in order to create an OC. For example, you could maybe make them on a game like Gacha Life or in a site like Picrew. I, for example, have already made characters there, and I think both of these options will help a lot. Instead of, you know, using generative AI or, I don't know, tracing somebody else's art, that's terrible. And yeah, I think dress-up games like the Gacha game series and Picrew help a lot, and also personally helped me a lot creating my own characters. Whenever, like, I don't know how I'm gonna, you know, how I would like my OC to look like, or maybe I'm just gonna make a new character out of the whim, and then I just make a really cool looking character without having the necessity to draw. Sometimes you don't need, you know, to maybe sketch it out. Maybe perhaps there's like a detail about that character that you don't know how you want to look. Maybe they have like a pair of wings, but you're like, wait, what do I do with this? So maybe you could go to a Picrew, and then it's like, oh, it has this really unique set of wings, and you could maybe then, when drawing the character or, you know, commissioning artists to draw the character, you could, you know, those artists could then also draw the character in the way you imagined it, you know, like in the Picrew or in the Gacha, whatever. You know what I mean, right?
I also think there's a really good way, and this also applies to artists, to help create your OCs. And I'm talking about doing mood boards. You have Canva, you have Pinterest, you have a lot of different options. You also have Milanote to create mood boards. Mood boards are also a good way of almost doing some sort of first concept for your character. And I'd also like to point out that Picrew and all of those apps end up having some restrictions, and I guess that's just life. Next up, I'd just like to share a bit of a personal thing. I feel like one of the most important things about just writing any story or creating an OC in general is how organized you are, or how you're going to organize everything you want to come up with. Because Marti sucks at that. Yeah, she sucks at that, but wait, I'm not shaming my sister here. I get it. And personally, I've been there too, in a way. Because, like, how do I say this? I feel like some people really have to really struggle when it comes to being responsible with your creations. And when I say responsible, is that if you're trying to make too many things at the same time, you're not gonna have time to develop them properly and to make them achieve what you really want with them.
Guilty as charged. I have way too many OCs. I had way too many OCs. I probably have like 100 OCs at this point. like counting with the ones that I like drew as a little kid, they were just like throwaway designs and random characters that never even mattered to me. But then there's like moments where I'm like, wow, this story idea that I just had is really cool. Let me draw the characters and think of it a little bit. And then I realized that like, wait a minute, I'm not even developing it properly. And then I just, another idea sprouts in my head, and then another one, and another one, and another one, and then my brain, my autistic-ass brain, just gets fueled with a storm, like a maelstrom of way too many like concepts and character ideas, and I just don't know what to do with them, and I end up dropping a lot of ideas that I think could have been really cool. I've been guilty of this so many times, and I'm trying my best to be better. I am trying to, slow down and try to focus on a
and overcome it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's like kind of one of my goals this year. I want to try and make like a story that I can actually advance forward, and perhaps maybe, I don't know, make a comic or make something full-fledged to already try and publish them. Not like publish off like as a full, like actual like professional thing, but something that can actually make me learn. Because, well, me and Mari are still like artists who are still growing and learning about how the industry, the art and animation, a comic, etc. industry works. And this topic in particular matters to me a lot because I want my stories to be noticed. I want my characters. I want people to relate to my characters. But how can I do that when I just can't organize my ideas, or in this case, be able to just focus on only one thing? It has to be an idea that you actually like. You can't force yourself to, develop a character or a story just because like, oh, okay, I gotta. No, you actually have to like it.
Thank you for mentioning your personal experience. I was actually bringing this up because I wanted to share some tips. But honestly, these tips are not specifically on like what programs and apps I personally use that helped me out. It's more on a mindset level of thinking about your OCs. I feel like some people don't put priorities or complexity levels on the things they want to create. And what I mean by this is that what I do personally and what really helped me out is categorize things. So if I have an OC that I really love drawing, but I don't necessarily see a story where I can develop them, I'll just like put them as someone that I like drawing in my free time, that I can choose when I want to do some random pose I found on Pinterest, or just warm-up sketching for something more important. And something that really helped me out throughout 2025 was actually using Millinotes to create, it's not sponsored by the way, we're too small of a channel to do that, to organize stories to organize my OCs, the main stories I've been developing and I've been writing for many years now. But it's not that I have everything documented. It's that a lot of things are just in my mind and in the way I see things, and in my sketchbooks, and in I guess all of the things I have in terms of drawings and art of my OCs. So a great way to organize yourself is to think of low priority OCs, so OCs that are more for fun, experimentation, or to explore a certain concept, a certain thing you're struggling with. For example, I don't know, if you want to learn how to draw braids, if you create an OC that has braids, maybe they're not necessarily the most relevant OC ever, or you don't really have a universe around them and a complex story around them, but they're an OC you love drawing because you can experiment with them and use them to develop your art skills. So there you go. And then the high priority OCs are usually the ones that I want to turn into comics. I recently released the first chapter of my comic Forever Ghosts, and that story and the OCs inside that story are high priority OCs. So I'll just put a screenshot of my Millinote board and you can kind of see that I have some stories, and I'll just label them while editing the video so you can see the high priority stories and the ones that are more casual and more of a free time hobby kind of story or characters. And by the way, I think that you should never feel guilty for scrapping an idea, an original character or story. And what I say by this is that you have to think of original characters and creations, again, as a way to experiment with how you're gonna take certain things regarding your art. You can also explore different styles and overcome things that you struggle with in drawing, writing, whatever. But flaws, like your story having a plot hole or your character not necessarily being a good person, is not a bad thing. It's all part of a learning process that can have value for your artistic progress. So no, your characters should not be... Your characters, I guess, if you want them to be a bit more realistic and rich, they shouldn't be perfect. They have to be right for you, and they have to make you happy, overcome something, learn something. And the flaws and the scrapped ideas you have can also be taken to stories that are well developed or that you are actually advancing. Going back into the topic of your art skills, of you don't really need to know how to draw to create a character or a story, I just like to mention that I kind of feel like the current state of the art community, online of course, almost makes you afraid of failing, of doing something wrong. And when I say wrong, I'm not talking about ethical and morality discussions. Fail and fail and fail until you overcome that difficulty and you achieve the thing you want and you are able to draw good braids. You get what I mean? I kind of feel like the art community has this thing of almost bullying and shaming people for wanting to learn and for not being capable of drawing everything perfectly and having flawless skills, and that really sucks, and that really makes people afraid of drawing or creating. Marty doesn't really want to add up to this specific thing I'm rambling on about, but anyway, just to close this topic, just to move on and move forward with the video, I also feel like OCs and creating original characters is the perfect way for you to, again, the whole experimentation thing I mentioned previously, but to also create diversity and know how to represent humans or people or I guess anything in a diverse way. And I feel like nowadays more than ever before, diversity is really important in the media in general. And your stories, your art, your drawings can always be a tool for you to be part of, I guess, a solution for us to see more diversity in artistic media and in the world in general.
And for the last section of the video, we're gonna talk about, the title of the video. Why creating OCs is, in our opinion, essential. I was the one who had the idea for this video, and it was for a very particular reason. I've always created characters, original characters, my whole entire life. And honestly, I would have no idea what to do without them. I know that the art industry in its current state is really, really scary. With the rise of generative AI and with a lot of artists losing their jobs and the things that they were passionate about, and also, how many studios end up canceling and scrapping ideas from passionate artists who just want to show their art to the world. It really is scary. I want to, as I said before, I want to present my characters to the world, my stories. I want to, show people who I am, what I think, and what I stand for. And, well, it's really scary. The art industry, its current state, it's a really scary thing. I totally understand if you're like an artist, you're probably scared too, or not, I'm not sure. And, well, truth be told, I honestly am not that much of a very, hardworking person. I'm not confident in my abilities. And, well, for me, the reason why creating characters is essential is because I feel like every artist needs something to hold on to. Something that makes their art theirs and theirs only. And for me, it's creating characters. I've had a lot of characters throughout my whole entire life, as I've said, and there were a lot of ideas that never moved forward, and many that are still here and still standing, and some old ones that are probably even gonna, come back. I'm still not sure. And there are a lot of important messages I would also like to, present in my stories, especially with, the current state of our world. It's becoming even messier and worse as life goes on. And at the end of the day, art is also a form of escapism. It brings you comfort, maybe, I don't know, drawing a certain character you like because they remind you that it's okay to be insecure or feel all of these turbulent thoughts, and creating characters is, for me, the greatest joy an artist can have. I started my art journey creating characters for series or a video game or an anime that I liked at the time, or I still do. And now I'm aspiring to create my own original stories, and I really, really want to, tell you this. Your story will be heard. Even if you don't have 1 million followers, or if you end up not having, worldwide success, there will still be people out there who will like your stories and your characters and will, care about them and say, hey, I think this is really cool, keep going. Your art matters, not just to you, but also to me, and that's honestly something very good. It actually motivates you to keep going and remind you that there are people out there who do care. I know that maybe you look at your art and you're saying, oh, I don't have like a Picasso level type painting, so my art is automatically bad. I get it. You're insecure. You're not perfect. You have flaws. You're a human being. That's what makes generative AI so bad. It doesn't take the flaws. It tries to perfect everything, and it fails because it isn't made by a flawed human being who has complex thoughts and interests and a life. An actual life. I think that's, for me, why creating characters is an essential thing for an artist. Because without them, I would have no idea where my life would have ever been headed to.
I was not expecting that, by the way, but well, if you want all of this summed up, making OCs is an essential part of being an artist because you're able to grow, experiment, and have fun.
And that is the end of the video. So yeah, this was a pretty different type of video that we did. We wanted to try, 2026, we want to try out new styles, so this is one of them. It's a more of a discussion video that doesn't really have, like a set script or like a theme.
It's more of a commentary and opinion video more than anything else. And yeah, we're just trying out and experimenting. Again, it's the whole purpose of the video and the whole thing we just mentioned about creating your own stories and being free, honestly. But anyway.
Bye!
Bye!